Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to this video. So we're just going to be taking a bit of a look at the Three Kingdoms E3 gameplay reveal trailer for Total War Three Kingdoms. I'm just going to give my sort of first impressions of it, sort of what we think about it, just have a bit of a look at it. Obviously when it comes out we'll certainly be having some gameplay footage of it on the channel, so I thought it would be kind of cool to sort of keep a bit of an eye on the development as it goes along. Obviously my channel's not like a news service, we don't do this every day, so just something a little bit different, and for those of you who haven't seen the trailer, we'll go through the trailers. It's kind of cool to see. So let's get started, and we'll see how we get on. The only one thing to add is, supposedly, or so I understand it, the game is supposed to be split into like a fantasy version and a historical version. And I'm going to say that, well, I hope that this is more the fantasy version of it, and the historical one's going to be a little less like this. But let's just see where we get on. Let's see how you do their talking.
Hello and welcome to the first look at Total War Three Kingdoms. Today we're going to be playing through a single battle. It's 199 CE and the events of the Three Kingdoms era are well underway. The tyrant Dong Zhuo is long dead, murdered by his adoptive son Lu Bu. He's one of the greatest warriors of the period, who is now threatening to combine his strength with Wan Shu and overwhelm all opposition. However, Lu Bu sits in CRP, isolated from his would-be ally. The legendary commander Cao Cao senses an opportunity to strike Lu Bu down before his strength becomes too great. After months of long siege warfare, and with the defenders starved of resources, Cao Cao now senses the time is right. Here, behind the walls of CRP, Lu Bu stands in the centre, preparing to fight against the approaching march of Cao Cao. Here we are on the battlefield, the final...
Okay, so this is our first, I guess, picture we get to see of the actual gameplay, the interface, the UI and everything like that. So that's kind of cool to see. Hopefully this YouTube bar drops away from the bottom. So what do we actually get to see? So it seems like, first things first, the army seems to be split into a variety of generals. So we've got 3 separate generals and all seem to be commanding a certain set of troops.
The assault is about to begin.
Yeah, so we can see, like, for example, Cao Cao seems to have sort of a range of heavy infantry, or like sort of fast attack infantry, heavy infantry and some cavalry. And we've got sort of these heavy spearmen here with another commander. So obviously perhaps his abilities sort of suit these guys. And then I guess this guy here must be the sort of ranged commander, with the way his abilities seem to be working. You know, he's got 2 units of crossbowmen, well I think they're crossbowmen, and some artillery as well. And then looking at this side, I don't know why we've got this YouTube bar blocking the way, but looks like we've got a total number of troops in the battle, time of the battle, and then just beneath there it looks like you can see maybe capture percentage and maybe settlement damage at the bottom there as well.
The legendary
so kind of
commander
interesting things we
leading
get to
his
see.
men into battle.
See, we've also got a mini-map down on the other side down here as well.
Cao Cao shall lead his forces through the breach, while Yi Jin will march his forces to the gatehouse and smash through and take the main concourse. But before we move forwards, we need to lay the groundwork for our assault.
So this is obviously just classic Total War.
Their walls to the ground.
About 4 stones knocked down an enormous wall, but I mean that's just kind of how that always works.
Spear guard up towards the front gate for the attack on the wall.
So it seems like each general sort of sticks with what troops he's got.
They're currently in a turtle formation, using their tall shields together, with the flag bearers in the centre to protect from missile fire, which will greatly aid us in this assault.
I mean, the units look very cool. I love the artwork.
Lu Bu is holding his position in the centre of CRP, waiting for someone worthy enough to fight. In Three Kingdoms, there are unique items which can be given to your generals. Here we see Lu Bu's horse and weapon are unique to him.
See, this is kind of things that worry me a little bit more, or well, I guess at least for me, it's something I dislike. You know, I think not many games really sort of go for this sort of Three Kingdoms period, or ancient China, or ancient Japanese history without doing it with the fantasy element. You know, doing like, it's very like Dynasty Warriors type thing, isn't it? With the you know, the fantasy horses and, you know, special halberds that somehow give increased morale to your troops and that sort of thing. I kind of dislike that sort of thing. I would rather have sort of an accurate historical game with huge troop numbers, you know, where the generals are there to command, not to do sort of hand-to-hand fighting or do some heroic charges and that sort of thing. But as I say, I believe that the game is supposed to be split into a history and sort of fantasy side, and you can sort of flip between the two. So I'm hoping this is more perhaps the fantasy side of things, and then there's going to be a historical side of things where things are perhaps a little bit less like this. But then obviously equally I understand some people probably really like the fantasy element. Obviously particularly having had Warhammer 1 and 2. Obviously, that gives the developers a lot to draw on with this side of things. And obviously, they're very popular games, so you know, maybe this is more what people want, and I'm the odd one out.
But should he be slain, you could loot his items and keep them for yourself.
Yeah, so one thing I noticed about from this bit was sort of the levels of some of these abilities, like melee toughness, missile toughness, melee power. Melee toughness, 92,000 almost. That's quite a lot, and that's supposed to be low as well, I notice. So it's going to be an interesting, maybe in a way of how they're balancing things. There's going to be quite a lot of differences probably between some of the units. Whether certain units are going to be pretty hard counters to different other people. I also noticed things like there's a dismount option here. So maybe that'll be available to cavalry as well, for them all to dismount, which would be kind of cool, nice little abilities and things like that to add in. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how it's so large numbers. Obviously, he's got a lot of melee power. I'm guessing that's something to do with his attack ability, something like that. But yeah, interesting to see on some of the commanders.
Different generals can recruit different kinds of units. These two are leading their forces together. Yi Jin is a guardian-type hero, our combat master who excels in the heart of battle, tanking and soaking up damage.
Tells us what the Guardian
fight,
results
is
in.
Incredibly useful for debuffing enemy units and allows us access to unique formation types. The gap on the left is now...
Okay, so that kind of explains why this guy's, without any of the armor, is the ranged commander. He has a debuffing type ability, so he's not really designed to be getting stuck into hand-to-hand fighting with the enemy, obviously. So I guess that's why he's got all the ranged units in his army.
Wide enough for us to make our great assault on the settlement. Cao Cao and his retinue are going to move up. Cao Cao himself is a commander, and they excel at buffing up nearby allied troops, rather than wading into combat themselves. So we won't be seeing him being the first through the breach. He's too valuable
to know.
We will instead be pushing up the Yellow Dragons. They are being supported by the Azure Dragons, a hybrid heavy spear and missile infantry unit.
I like how
they will
just
first
skipped
hold
off
back
it. If I can just get
fire over the walls with their bows.
If you noticed there, just as we passed over it, it said like eager general alive. It was nice to give those sort of unit information rather than sort of being quite small and hidden like it is in some games.
All their ammunition,
really nice and clear on the UI. I like that sort of thing.
Let's move on.
Like our ram has made it up to the gate.
Now is the time to press the attack. Getting the Azure Dragons firing, and now charging forwards with the...
So we've got a catapult over here by the looks of things. I kind of like this settlement. The siege battles look to be pretty good, don't they? Quite large amounts of walls and stuff around. I don't know if this is an inner wall here. It's quite possible it could be. If it is like a double wall settlement, that's pretty cool. Kind of gives quite a lot of defensive points. Maybe if these outer walls are lost, maybe you could fall back to this sort of gateway here. Defending choke points and things like that. Pretty cool that they've got this sort of quite open, by the looks of it, siege warfare being sort of brought back into Total War games, which is exactly sort of what we want to see.
Yellow Dragon.
Is there a heart beating in that spineless body? Is there a brain inside that cavernous head?
See, for me, this sort of thing is like, I guess they think it's... Maybe if you're onto the fantasy thing, this is exactly what you like, but I just like this sort of, you know, pointless banter sort of type fantasy conversations that never really happened. For me, what's the point? It kind of ruins the immersion for me, so I don't like it. But maybe a lot of people will.
They will make very short work of these spears.
Oh, these guys are brutal. Like, in a minute, a guy gets sent absolutely flying. Look at this guy. He got sent absolutely flying.
Let's check up on the centre attack. The settlement is now on fire from the barrage of arrows, and our men are getting over the walls and getting stuck.
It looks like they're grappling their way up the walls rather than using ladders.
Yes.
So the ram must have breached the gate, and now the troops are going in on foot to try and fight their way through the gateway.
Cousin, we come to aid you. We ride with fury at our back.
Our
reinforcements
have arrived. This huge mass of cavalry will be the perfect thing to break Lubu's men.
I noticed this is kind of quite a change from the Thrones of Britannia type cavalry gameplay, where cavalry wouldn't do anything against like a shield wall, soon in the shield wall or braced, anything like that. Cavalry wouldn't have anything to do with it. Didn't want to get stuck into that sort of fight. Whereas I guess these spearmen weren't sort of formed up and braced and ready to receive the cavalry charge, but you know, cavalry seem to be quite a lot more powerful initially, just straight from the off, than they were previously. Is that a man upside down? It may be. He's maybe just about to hit the floor. So yeah, cavalry seem a bit more powerful. I just think it's probably a good thing. I think they kind of overdid it a little bit in the Thrones of Britannia.
We'll charge them into this.
Yes, it was a man.
They're going to knock these guys flying and destroy their morale. Our reinforcements are led by Jehao Dun. He was shot in the eye by an arrow in battle against Lu Bu. He pulled it out, his eye still attached to the arrow, and proceeded to eat it.
I bet he did.
And we're going to get him out of the fight and head over to Lu Bu, who we're going to challenge.
So again, this is kind of one of the
Duels are a
fantasy
new
elements,
feature
obviously,
for
that
Three
I'm sure
Kingdoms,
you'll gather by now.
where
I'm
the
not a
two
massive
heroes
fan
will
of.
duke it out in single combat until one either dies or retreats. Duels can help you single out an enemy combatant and take them out and turn the tide of battle.
See, I guess this is, I know I'm going on about the same things, but this kind of falls back into the sort of, it's like a Jackie Chan film. It's great, if it's kind of in Warhammer, I understand it. But kind of when there's an opportunity to make a really cool historical game, I'd rather be able to kill the enemy commander by managing to tactically split him off from the rest of his forces, pin him, get him trapped, and then kill him through overwhelming force, not on some one-to-one mythical hero duel sort of thing. But there we go. I mean, it's very well done, very well animated, I must say, but...
This battle is heating up. To see who
so,
wins,
that is
stay
all we
tuned
have
for
got
all of...
from the trailer. So yeah, I mean, all in all, there's some very nice things in it. I mean, cinematically and the art-wise, considering that we're still quite a long way off from release, things are looking really good. And I think it's kind of a cool period to be doing. Three Kingdoms period is obviously a very exciting period in history. So I think that's all very good. I like that. I like the size of the siege battles. I like the fact, we've got like double-walled cities and very large-scale siege battles by the look of things, which is exactly what we're wanting. Siege battles are one of the best things about Total War games, aren't they? So it's good to see that. I personally am not such a fan of sort of the fantasy side of things that we're seeing in this trailer. But as I say, there may be a fantasy historical sort of split down the game, and this is maybe the fantasy side of things. So I don't want to judge it too quickly, and it's also worth considering that a lot of people probably like the fantasy side of things, and kind of perhaps it's a bit of a personal preference type thing, so we've got that to consider as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. The only last thing I wanted to add is, entirely coincidentally, I'm listening to a very cool podcast called The History of China, and I'm just literally going through the Three Kingdoms period now, and it's just to say that if any of you people would like to learn a bit more about the history of this, the Three Kingdoms period in general, or just the history of China in general, then I'll put a link down to the podcast in the description. I highly recommend it. It's worth checking out because it's a really good podcast. So, thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you have, please give it a like. Let me know what you think about this sort of trailer and my analysis of it in the comments down below. And subscribe to the channel for lots more Total War content. Thanks, guys, and I shall see you all on the next episode.